What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here with the Shackcast episode 41. I am back with special guest Andrew Alliance, who has invited me to a Twitter Spaces edition of his podcast, the show Radio. Um, we will be talking about the latest in tech and gaming news. So if you want to be a part of some of these podcast episodes, we are doing some of them live on Twitter Spaces, as well as recording these and putting them out on podcast platforms. So once again, I would like to thank you for watching, listening. I hope you enjoy this episode. Remember that the best way to support the channel is to sign up for a membership on the YouTube channel. Members get exclusive channel badges to highlight their continued support over the months and years. As a member, you get access to special emojis expressing a variety of emotions and support for the channel. Members will also receive photo and status updates, early access to select videos, and at higher tiers, access to a members-only Discord channel. Your support is what keeps the Shackcast photography blog and the YouTube channel going. Please like and share the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on a video or a Shackcast episode. Thank you for tuning in. Dude, just got to play Alan Wake 2 for the first time last night. I know that's one of the things you want to talk about. So, I mean, that's a big thing. Spider-Man 2's dope. You know, it's been
Yeah,
a
for
great
sure.
week.
Yeah, man. I did tell you I purchased Spider-Man. I had to add it, man.
Yes.
I fought it, but I had to add it. I had to do it, man.
No,
I had to do
Spider-Man's
it.
too dope, man. You gotta have him. And it's a whole
Yeah,
different ball game on PC. It's absolutely gorgeous. Some of the visual options that they give you.
yeah, for sure. So we do have a lot on the docket. So just by way of preview, we're going to talk about Sarah Bond being president of Xbox partner preview. We're going to touch on that. Metal Gear Snake Eater. X is rolling out audio and video calls. I know. Did you get your Pixel 8 yet?
No, not yet. Mm-mm.
Okay, so definitely want to touch on that a little bit. I know you were looking at some of the features and stuff like that. Connie Booth, right? That was confirmed.
Yeah.
Right? Spider-Man, and of course Miles Morales still playing that. I was actually playing Miles Morales last night. And going to events, I know that's a conversation that you wanted to have
Mm-hmm.
as well. And between some of the topics, we'll definitely open up the stage for individuals to speak about tech and gaming related stuff. And that's pretty much the format. So before we get started, I definitely want to say welcome to the room. So Twitter Spaces is I'm getting a groove here. I'm learning how things work. I'm pulling levers and things of that nature. So excited to do that. But definitely want to give a shout out to TubeBuddy. If you guys are building a YouTube channel, definitely check out what TubeBuddy does. It does supercharge a YouTube channel. I have a link in the nest up top. Definitely check that out. Click to start for free. And that is what I wanted to share at the beginning, at the very top. But yeah, so Sarah Bond, president of Xbox, will read that particular um, memo that was sent out. I think the article was in The Verge where they posted the full memo. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Initial thoughts on that, and then we'll go from there. What's your take?
Dude, it's incredible. I mean, she works so hard for Microsoft and it's so well deserved. And it's great to see her in a position of power where she's able to, make changes and for the good of the company and for the good of other people coming up along the way behind her. I mean, a lot of people said that this is kind of smashing through the glass ceiling kind of moment. So that's very special for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree there. And, from a demographic standpoint, the fact that she's a black woman, heading as the president of Xbox is very interesting and inspiring for many individuals who are POCs, people of color, and things of that nature. So I'm just going to be part of this particular memo. We don't have to go through the whole thing. I'm going to start off this section here. Great games are fundamental to everything we do. We believe that an expanded gaming content organization, one that enables Xbox Game Studios and ZeniMax's development studios to collaborate effectively together, will empower those world-class studios to do their best work and growing a portfolio of games people love. Matt Booty will lead this expanded organization as president of game content and studio. So we're not just focusing on Sarah, but definitely want to give Sarah her flowers. So Matt
Hmm.
Bowie will lead game content and studios. And it says here, ZeniMax will continue to operate as a limited integration entity led by Jamie Leder, president and CEO, reporting to Matt. And then further down, as the article goes, to manage the platform of today and build the platform of tomorrow, we're bringing together the teams that will make this possible. Sarah Bond will lead this team as president of Xbox, bringing together devices, player and creator experiences, platform engineering, strategy, business planning, data analytics, and business development. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there
Yeah,
for not just her, right? Not just
that's a
her,
title. She has a big, big title. That's a lot of
for
stuff
sure.
to cover for her.
For sure, and not just her, but there's a lot of
Hmm.
shifting happening, and the thing is, one of the things I really do appreciate about watching the things that Xbox has done in the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah,
And how they're trying to make the platform, and it's been a great platform over the years, right? Ever since Xbox came out, but they want to make sure it's a platform that everybody wants to use and be a part of, whether you're using a TV screen or you're using an actual console or you're using the cloud services, right? So I think that is exciting to see, and we are really getting comfortable with the Xbox Game Pass and how we want to use that. Some of us, right? PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, or what have you. And I think it's exciting, man. It's exciting for gamers all around, and it's exciting for individuals who are watching what's happening with the platform, whether you're Team Green, Blue, or Red, right? Thoughts on that?
absolutely. I think the other key thing to pull from this is that those Bethesda studios having to report to Matt Booty will potentially resolve some of these problems, like what happened with Redfall, which it felt like a lot of that was oversight issues of like, oops, we just didn't notice that, key features left out, that this game was, so unfinished and in a terrible state for launch. Like, it seems like that one just slipped out, but hopefully this will prevent that happening in the future. These changes in leadership and everybody reporting direct to another person.
Yeah, and that just fell flat, right? Can we just touch on that a little bit? Like,
Yeah,
even though they added what, the 60 frames per
they
second,
did.
in recent
And
in
stealth
recent weeks,
takedowns,
right?
man. Don't forget the stealth takedowns, all right?
It just feels. I mean,
Yeah.
even when I played it, it just felt like so dated.
Mhm.
When I played it on the Xbox Game Pass, it definitely felt dated. And this is not like, and I want to be clear, right? This is not a promo for Xbox Game Pass. I know we enjoy what it provides, right? But that's
Yeah.
where I played it, so I just want to mention that. But it just felt like the game was dated, and there was so much more that could have been done, especially how they promoted it.
I agree. I wanted the best for that game. It looked really cool. It was something I was definitely interested in and something that I was going to take advantage of Xbox Game Pass in order to play. But yeah, once I heard the news, I was like, this one needs to sit on the shelf.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so are you going to go back in and play that, or you're not even considering based on what's out now? What's the vibe now?
That's hard because yeah, there's way better games out right now. So that one's gonna sit around. We'll see where it's at in a year, I guess.
That's
If
crazy.
they make changes, they gotta have their No Man's Sky moment, their Cyberpunk 2077 moment, whatever you want to call it.
That's crazy that we got there so fast. And it felt, man, it felt like it happened so fast, right?
It
The
did.
game came out, we were like, oh, cool, it's gonna be dope. And then, we played it, and then it was just like, nah, nah, I
No.
think we're gonna pass on that, right? That that was kind of wild, just the sequence of events and how fast that took place. I thought it was really interesting. But it is what it is, right? There's so many other games coming out, this holiday season, and I think we're excited for everything that's happening in the space, whether you're playing PlayStation, PC, or Xbox. It is what it is, right? So that's what's going on with that, and I actually am gonna go back to my doc here. So Xbox partner preview, right? I know you mentioned Alan Wake.
Yeah.
That looks absolutely amazing. So I guess you could do Alan Wake lead into the Xbox partner preview. I did watch that. That was about 28 minutes. If you haven't caught that and you're listening to this later, the Xbox partner preview was pretty much all games. There were no conversations in between, and a lot of trailers. A lot of hat tips to some incredible games that are either out or coming out in the near future. I think that was about 28 minutes. You can catch that on YouTube for sure. So, what was your take on that?
Yeah, I think it was really cool. I think them dropping the Metal Gear Solid thing was like the big bomb that we never thought was gonna happen, and so that kind of stole all the hype for me. I was like, that's the moment right there. And Alan Wake 2 is dope. If you want me to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Jump in, man.
Yeah, so I'm not even that far, and I'm not gonna get into spoilers here. Only did chapter one, about 3 hours. But I can say that this is a master class on game development. It is the animations, the lighting, the graphics, the exploration, the writing, the dialogue, the voice acting, every single thing that is a part of this game, from the music to the sounds in the game. Every single thing is tailored in this experience to be as good as it can be. If you play other games like The Last of Us, Uncharted, you play God of War, you're used to these incredible narrative experiences in gaming. And Alan Wake 2 is just another one on that list. And it builds upon the previous game, it builds upon what happened in Control and the Remedy universe, and it's weird, it's scary, it's dark. It's really interesting. So I think that's my game of the year. It's number one.
Really? So
Yep.
so that's your game of the year. Not even Spider-Man? Spider-Man is not in there
Spider-Man
for you
number
anymore?
two, man, because I don't know. Alan Wake did something that we have not seen a franchise do before. I think it excels in every single category of what we expect from a game of the year. Like, it literally took everything, reinvented the wheel. Some of the mechanics it has with the detective work. You have a mind place, which is similar to Sherlock Holmes' Mind Palace. One of the detectives, Saga Anderson, you sort of go inside her mind and you get to walk around the field office, and you're pinning photos to the board, and you're writing on note cards and stuff, and you're filling in your case file, and you're drawing threads between the pins on the board, and you're trying to solve a case like a real detective would. And I think some of those mechanics that they've added into the game like this, it's just the ultimate experience in that type of stuff. We'd never seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know it was good. I know it was
Yeah.
good based on, the ramping up to the actual release. And of course, we talked about in the past that horror is not necessarily my genre, but I do appreciate, what I've experienced over the years. For me, it's probably Resident Evil, Silent Hill, that kind of world, right? Which I really love and appreciate. But to hear, the tremendous accolades that Alan Wake is receiving, I'm not surprised by that. What is it, 13 years since the last game?
13 years since the last game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not really surprised by the accolades that it's receiving. They've done an incredible job, and that shows with all the reviews and the impressions that we've been seeing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do think that that is something that I'll probably watch by way of, I like to do the cutscene movies. I don't know if I was telling you recently. So the
Yeah.
cutscene movies are pretty cool, right? So I'm
Yeah,
watching the
they are.
Spider-Man one right now, Spider-Man 2 cutscene movie. That's 4 hours. I'm probably an hour in, and I mean, dude, that is an incredible. I know at this point if we're doing spoilers or anything like that for Spider-Man 2, but just how things have played out for the Venom symbiote, whatever you want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be on Spider-Man, I thought was an interesting situation, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily gonna give it up there, but if you haven't played the game, don't want to spoil it. But I haven't played it either. I'm probably not gonna play it until it gets to PC. But I did want to watch, the cutscenes because I kind of like watching the movies like that. So it is what it is, right? So yeah, so the cutscene movies are pretty fantastic. Definitely check that out. I think for Alan Wake 2, I'll probably do that.
Yeah.
Once I'm done with Spider-Man 2, I'll probably do the cutscene. movies on YouTube for Alan Wake. But yeah, it's impressive, you know. Um, no, there's no bad report there. They're doing exactly what they need to do to make sure that they're going to get all the accolades heading into the Game Awards, which is not too far away. So we'll see that play out as well, right? So Metal Gear Snake Eater, of course, the amazing song that replays in our minds time and time again, right? Because it is
Yeah,
so well done, and hopefully that is the intro for this game as well. Metal Gear Snake Eater. It's using the Unreal Engine, from what I've gathered, and it looks like it's going to be dope, man.
it looks gorgeous, man. Unreal Engine 5 is where it's at. I mean, it just looks gorgeous. And I had noticed that they also took advantage of some of the mechanics that were in Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, the cover mechanics, the walking while crouched,
Right.
that's kind of an innovative feature that didn't come around until the fifth game and really get that in there. So I mean, it not only that, it's just going to be the original game, but also like with these extra mechanics, it's going to play a lot better, I feel. So in the way that Dead Space did that just earlier this year with the Dead Space remake, they took everything that was great about the 2008 original and they added sort of modern mechanics and gameplay styles and art and graphics and all these things, and they managed to make it a better experience for new players coming in. So I believe that's what MGS3 Snake Eater intends to do here.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. Yeah, even when we were talking about when Snake was in the grass, and I was like, man, this guy doesn't have a chance, man.
He
There is
doesn't. He doesn't,
there's
dude.
no way,
Nope.
there's no way he's gonna survive anything that's getting ready to happen to him, and that is unfortunate. So yeah, so Metal Gear is gonna be dope. The collection, you said, what'd you think about the collection when it dropped?
Oh, I haven't played it yet, but I have it. I'm super excited.
Okay, okay. So we're gonna wait to hear more from that. So with Twitter, right? With Twitter making the adjustments that it's making, I think one of the things that we saw this week is that now they have different tiers, right? They have the classic or basic. They have the premium, which is 8. They have the premium plus, which is interesting, right? And they've introduced those different tiers, right?
Mhm.
And I find it interesting, not that we're surprised that it's turning into the platform that it's turning, especially, especially, what exactly you're trying to do with the platform, right? I think that's always interesting. With us, we create content, not only by word, but we also want to do text and different things with the platform and engage and things of that nature. We've talked about recent numbers that we've been getting for impressions on a previous conversation that we had, which I think that it more than 10x what you are currently doing, maybe
Mhm.
like a month ago, right? So we talked about those things. At the end of the day, just for individuals who will listen later and who are listening as we're talking, you know, the thing with Twitter is they only care about a couple of things that you should consider doing. Be kind, be thoughtful, be empathetic, and anything other than that may not yield you the kind of results that you're looking for. So that's a tip to go in, with your next 28 days, and you'll probably see. And of course, subscribe to Twitter Blue to get your post boosted. Whether you like that or not, that is the game. So you play the game, right? So now that they're getting ready to roll out audio and video calls, right?
Mhm.
What's your take on that? And do you plan to use any of those features?
I guess so. I think so. I think it's an interesting move, and as we were talking earlier, it's like seems like Elon wants to evolve the platform in a different way, with the video and voice calls, and then potentially making it like a payment platform as well. I mean, he just wants X to be the one app that you click on, and that makes a lot of sense to me. I guess I'm just curious how will we adapt these calls? How will we use them? I mean, we have our regular phones, we have Discord, we have Twitter Spaces. I mean, where's that? Where's the benefit for us to be using the video and voice calls? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so I think it depends, right? So even recently, I went to an event in New York City and met a couple of people there, and their platform of choice to have conversations Instagram, right?
Mhm.
So we connected on Instagram. We started having a conversation. Now, in the event that we decide to do business in any way, shape, or form, I could literally just use the Instagram voice call to, do that, right? I don't need your number, right? I
Right.
think that's where we are. We're at a stage in all these platforms. If we really want to have a conversation, wherever you are, wherever you're comfortable having those conversations, we can have them and still get, a level of intimacy that is pretty good because now we have the audio and video calls on pretty much everything that we use, right? Discord, as you mentioned, Instagram for sure, Messenger. What else we have? Google Meet, etc. Zoom. We can go down the list of all the different places, right?
Yeah.
That has those things, and I think it's pretty amazing where we are. So what's the point? The point is when it comes to all these platforms, wherever the person is, if I'm able to have a conversation there, I don't mind, right? Especially
Mhm.
if I already use the platform. So Discord, I have conversations there as well. And it is what it is, right? Some people are more comfortable having conversations on Discord. They do not want to use Messenger or anything related to IG. So I think I like it. I like it that we're going to have another platform, and of course, you should be using, some kind of VPN, service. Proton VPN is really good, which is what I use on a regular basis, and it is fantastic. Or you can use something like a Google One, but Proton VPN is fantastic as well, right? So plug to them. So with all these services, I think that any business that you're able to do on that platform, especially if you're going to be able to use like an audio or video call, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But I'm sure that service is probably going to be behind a paywall, right?
Yeah.
For the premium users of the platform. So if the tier starts at $3, I don't know exactly how they classified it yet. I got to look into, I guess, the recent articles or whatever as they come out, because the feature didn't roll out to me yet, but I did see a lot of folks showing that where the screen is in your settings, privacy settings, to get to the part where you activate or, set up the voice the way you're supposed to have it and the settings, right? So I think it's exciting that it's rolling out. So once it rolls out, I do plan to try it out and then definitely report back on, how it was, audio quality, what are we considering by way of encryption and things of that nature for a service, like that, that's going to be, most likely behind a paywall.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with that. So next thing, I know you're still waiting for it, but one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about was the Google stuff, man. I know you're excited for Pixel. Now, I guess you could definitely lean in to that conversation first, and then we can talk about some of the features and fill in some gaps here. I do I do have a list of the features that I want to have here, at least, archiving this conversation, documenting this conversation. I want to have that all in there. The reason being is I think it's necessary for individuals who are considering getting a new phone, especially if they're looking into Android, and this might be their first, Pixel. And to be fair and very clear, they did not send me the phone. I bought the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that extremely clear. This is not a pixel. This is not a hashtag, gift from Google. That's not what happened here. I bought the phone, and I'm really enjoying everything about it. So, you bought it too. You're waiting for it to come in. Thoughts? What made you make the purchase?
Yeah, I think some of the big things were the camera, because I've noticed other phones have had, less quality in their cameras, and Google has on the Pixel Pro 8 50 megapixel camera on the main one. They have a 48 megapixel ultra wide camera, which is good for macro focus, zooming in on, flowers or insects or, just whatever little things you're trying to focus on something up close. And then you have a 48 megapixel telephoto camera, which will allow you to zoom five times and 30 times. So, I mean, you can get that really good zoom without degrading the image, which is what I noticed other phones, the image would degrade massively once you started zooming in. It was like a 8-bit Nintendo game. Um,
Right. I
and then,
remember
of
you
course, the
saying that.
selfie cam. That's always the other one that often they use a cheaper lens on that. But Google has done a 10.5 megapixel front camera to make sure that your selfies are on point. So I mean, the camera was a big deal. What they've done with the low light photography, unlocking full manual settings, shutter speed, ISO, your focus, getting those high resolution images and detail, the video processing, the lighting, the stabilization, adjusting the real tone skin color, right?
Right.
Representing all the nuances of skin tones. Editing your photos, all the AI features that come with that. Even the same thing with the videos to reduce distracting sounds, cars, wind, all sorts of other stuff. We saw the video of the guy playing the cello, in the park, and he tuned out all the noise, all the cars rushing by, and the wind, and birds and everything else. All the other distractions. I mean, those were the key things that really sold me on the phone. And
Yeah, and
and
that's
that the
that's pretty dope.
transition would be smooth. I mean, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So when I got mine, I remember we were talking about it. They gave me a $500 trade-in for my S9, which was pretty dope. And then, from there, I'm like, hey, I might as well just do the Pro, even though the Pro is locked with the Pro controls via software. So the main difference between the 8 and the 8 Pro is probably RAM and the fact that it's locked with the the software for the camera controls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost funny when you think about it because at some point, I'm sure there's some other things there that are escaping me right now, but in the future, someone is going to find a way to unlock the
Yeah.
Pro controls for all Android phones, right? So the Google Cam is going to make its way to other, phones, and then we're going to see, everybody have the same controls that the Pro people have on the Pixel. But the difference between those individuals who are going to be Android users and on a non-Pixel phone is that the experience on a Pixel phone is definitely different than any other Android phone that I've ever used, and it is really good. It is as good as they say it is. So some of the things I want to mention here to have it on record, for those who will be listening, later for sure. 7 years of OS updates, which is incredible. Zoom enhanced, which is going to be AI powered, and it's going to be able to, determine, what to fix or add to that particular picture. That's going to be incredible. Video boost, which is going to improve the color grading. Night sight for video, low light recording, Magic Editor, which you can kind of get now a little bit, but I'm sure is going to be improved over time, which is a generative AI tool. The Audio Magic Eraser, so you're going to be able to remove unwanted sounds from the videos. That's going to be dope. And then even with the picture stuff, because I know you were talking about the picture stuff before,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to best take, change faces after taking the picture, the pro level DSLR controls, the full res image capture, of course, the Google Assistant that's going to have Bard in the future, which is a work in progress. The keyboard is going to have the AI features as well, like one tap fix. You're going to have like peak brightness. I think there's 2400 nits for the Pixel. Apple has 2000 nits. The S23 has 1750. Okay, so there's that. This is a flat display, instead of a curved one. They did upgrade the fast charging to 30 watts. Okay, it also has wireless charging. There's a built-in thermometer sensor. Okay, there's
Mm-hmm.
upgraded face lock technology where you can make payments with that too if you choose to do that in the future. You talk about the camera, which is a 50 megapixel cam, has f 1.7 lens, and you talked about the telephoto now has a 48 megapixel cam with faster autofocus. So, bro, like
Wow.
it is stacked. It is stacked.
It
It is
is.
stacked. It is stacked.
It
Whether
is.
whether your team Pixar or not, it is a stacked phone that can compete with pretty much anything that's out there, right? It could stand on its own, which I think is really impressive.
Yeah, it really is.
So yeah, so that's what's going on with that. Any other thoughts on Pixel before we move to Connie Booth?
Man, it just excels in every way. And that's the other thing, the 7 years of the security updates. That's something that says to me like, hey, we're actually expressing longevity with this phone. If you want to hold on to it that long, we're going to make sure that your phone is safe to use and that, updates will be continual. Whereas like other companies really want you buying a new phone every year for $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's really fantastic what what I'm experiencing by way of, this new, phone, this new hardware, software experience. I think is really dope. And, I'm sure we'll talk about it again in the near future, depending what's happening and all the AI implementations that they're going to do with the phone later on. So I'm excited about that. So Sony confirms departure of veteran exec Connie Booth after more than 30 years. Are you surprised by that?
I guess I don't know. It's a little surprising, but I mean, we saw other high profile exits. So I don't know. I there's no part of me that's like scared for Sony. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm reading an article here. It says Booth helped drive the success PlayStation Studios is experiencing today, and her passion in fostering an environment where a team's creative vision could fully flourish has left a positive impact on many game developers, a
Mm-hmm.
Sony spokesperson said, right? We're thankful for Connie's numerous contributions to the company and wish her the best in future endeavors. Now, over here it says Booth's tenure at
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation lasted almost 3 decades after joining in 1995 as a producer working with Naughty Dog to launch Crash Bandicoot. Booth's time at Sony stretches back even longer, though, having worked at Sony Corporation of America since 1989. Okay, so my thing is, it wouldn't surprise me. So predictions now, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if, okay, and this is, I don't know, I'm gonna put it out there. If she is approached by the new president of Xbox to come in
Ooh.
and make an impact
Yeah.
under Microsoft. Bro, okay, so we're in, okay, so we're heading into November. She leaves, they make her an offer. It's announced December 1st.
Wow. I could see it.
Well,
I
you,
don't
you know what
doubt
I
you at
mean?
all. Yeah. It would
I
make
wouldn't be
sense.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe she wants to do, something independent, maybe write a memoir
Mm-hmm.
or, something, maybe start, a YouTube channel podcast because, that is a very awesome creative outlet that anybody can take, for sure. So we don't know, right? But leaving this, right around, it's almost like she gets, okay, so this, okay, all right.
Mm.
This is my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
She gets word that Sarah Bond is going to be named president of Xbox, right? She
Mm.
makes her departure from Sony, and then she's going to, get an offer, and then they're going to announce that she is part of the Xbox team. That'd be dope. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen,
Yeah.
but that would make, if it does happen, then we could look back and say, hey, we talked about it ahead of time
Yeah.
because, the timing of it was very interesting. It was a big loss for Sony and it was a big promotion for Sarah Bond. Think about it. Within
Yeah.
the same time frame.
And imagine, I mean, she took Sony from Crash Bandicoot, one of the most iconic characters Sony has had, all the way up until now. I mean, she has touched so many franchises and steered Sony in some really good directions over the years. So, I mean, if she's able to do that for Xbox, like, there's no telling where Xbox could be in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely something that we need to pay attention to. I'm
Yeah.
very curious on where she's going to be in the
Mm-hmm.
near future, but we'll see how, things are going to play out with that particular situation. So Spider-Man, man. So Spider-Man, I'm all in now, at least, 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So what do you got going on with Spider-Man right now?
Dude, it's so much fun. I guess as much as I can talk about without spoilers, man, the gameplay is there, the web swinging is there. I think the other thing I want to do is make a video about advanced and realistic web swinging, because when you start playing the game, if you go into the options, there's actually a web swinging assist mode, and it's turned up to 10 by default, which means that no matter what you're doing, if you're swinging between two buildings, going down the street, right? Your webs will connect to whatever building is nearby, and you will, realistically keep propelling yourself forward, right? But what we notice in the movies and in reality, and if you turn down the web swing assist, like say down to like 0 or 1, like I did, because I wanted to see how extreme is it going to get. Well, what happens is when you shoot a web onto the building on the right side of the street, physics will pull you towards that building rather than keep you in the middle of the street and you're just shooting webs on either side, and it's super easy and you can always go where you want to. Well, now it's going to pull you a little bit towards the building realistically as physics work, and then, it just makes it a little more realistic, a little more like what we see in the movies, and it changes the game drastically. But I will mention that if you put it at 0, um, with no assist, when you're swinging low to the ground, you have a chance that you'll connect with the ground and then you're not swinging anymore. So
Oh
if you
man.
set it on 1, then you can swing as low as you want, and the game will make sure that you don't touch the ground. Like, the game has these sort of assists in the
Safeguards,
game
yeah.
that you can swing as low as you want, and you won't like bump into cars or the road or something unless you completely disconnect your web. It's a game changer, and I want to talk about that more, and I want to probably showcase some gameplay to sort of explain how all that works, but it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving playing through Miles Morales again, right? And I think that, I mean, just the experience of, I don't know, playing it on PC is so different, man. I
It
mean, it's the
is.
same game. It's the same game, but I think it's just like, what I guess the processing power, right? And the
Mhm.
GPU and all that. And what we're able to get from it, especially if your GPU is somewhat newer, right? Mine is not new, but it's new enough. It just the game feels totally different, man. And the graphics are just so clean on playing the game. So I'm really enjoying playing that experience again, and I'm spending more time doing the crime stuff in the city, and not necessarily playing through the full story now. But I know at some point I want to gear up and start, doing all of the activities around the city, and then of course completing the story as well to jump into, Spider-Man. The first game, which is on PC, and I can't wait for the second game to be on PC as well. So, I mean, I'm having a good time, man. It's really dope.
Dude, it's incredible. Can you talk a little bit about Miles and like what he means to you and about this interpretation? Because we've seen him across other different types of media, but talk about how the game sort of pulls him in a different direction.
Yeah, so for me, I don't think I was that familiar with Miles until I started hearing, a lot of promotion before Spider-Man Miles Morales came out, right? I
Hmm.
know the first Spider-Man game was out and there was a lot of rave and excitement about that. And then they started saying that the Miles Morales might be a DLC, right? And not its own standalone game. Remember that?
Hmm.
So there was that conversation surrounding that. And then when the game came out, and I think that, I mean, there's multiple layers there, right? It's another Spider-Man game, and I love Spider-Man regardless. It's a Spider-Man that is a POC, Spider-Man, and I think that's always great to, with representation and things of that nature. So I do appreciate that. And the story, getting bit by a spider and then having the powers, I think we're familiar with that. But I do think that it's just a different story. Peter and the aunt and the uncle versus Miles and the mom and the dad, right? So there's different dynamics that we get to experience in terms of how important family is no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So there's that, and the fact that he's younger, definitely smart. There's some parallels between Miles and Peter. They're both smart. They're both capable. they're both individuals who are still trying to figure out who they are, but at the same time, how to navigate, this incredible power that they have now. Okay, Peter, much later in that journey, but yet still struggles with the fact that, hey, there's just certain things that come with the job. Now he's telling Miles, hey, this is what you expect, and no matter what, this is your lot now. This is what you have to deal with, because you have these abilities, right? So I think Miles being younger, and even in some of the things that you see in Spider-Man 2 by way of some of the cutscenes, you see the struggle between wanting to spend time with family, but at the same time, there are individuals who need you to help them because of the power that you have in your possession, right? So I think there's a combination of all those different things, but I think for me more so is yeah, in the dynamics of him and his friend, and both being smart and techie and very very intelligent in STEM in the STEM world. They created apps so Miles can benefit from going in the city and making sure that there were less crimes because he could use the app to capture and intercept all these different situations. So all that, man, all that I think is really fantastic. And then the photo mode, of course, right?
Dude, it's the best photo mode in gaming.
Um,
Tell me more.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, so the photo mode, I started using it last night, and I'm trying to figure out where they go on PC. Like
Yeah.
where does the image actually save? So I need to figure where that is, right? But aside from that, I took a couple of shots on the top of the Empire State Building with Miles,
Oh,
and yeah, I know. So I want to know where that is, so I could either go back and get some more, or just try to figure out how much space the pictures take, what size they, is it full resolution, whatever, right? So I just need to know like where they live on a hard drive so I could manage that because you could spend hours taking pictures and that. So it means a lot on so many different levels, from a demographic standpoint, from a culture standpoint, and just him being in the city, listening to the music, even the intro to
dude.
Miles, right? Right.
Yeah.
Is iconic for individuals who, grew up in the city, and,
Mhm.
just the clothes that he's wearing, the Timberland boots, and the art on the wall, and just appreciating that, being from the city. I think all that is amazing to experience in an interactive gaming experience, right? And it's a reminder of how those things, whether you understand what they mean to individuals or not, these experiences, can, really inspire someone to either create their own game, create their own merch,
Mhm.
create, something, right? That is related to, adding value to the world, whether they decide to do that digitally or IRL. So there's a lot, man. There's a lot of good stuff.
Wow. It's inspiring, man. I think that's what it is. He inspires people to be better and to do better and to work with what you have.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything that we didn't catch for this week. Any thoughts that you have? Anything that you wanted to add as we wrap in a few?
Boy, there's just so many games, and I think November 2nd we're gonna have more to talk about as more games start dropping. We got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on the horizon. We got to play the beta. That was a real gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um, yeah, and just Super Mario RPG's getting a remake soon, and maybe we'll talk more about the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection if I can get some time in on that. I really just want to see how everything looks, how everything feels, because a lot of those games, this will be their first time on PC. And as far as like game preservation goes, stuff like this is really important.
Yeah, yeah, I'm trying to figure out like if Friday might be a better time frame, depending what I have going on Friday, to just do the recap then instead of doing it on Saturday, because I know Saturdays is when we get to spend time with family. I'm in Shabbat services, from like 11 to like 2ish, and service and stuff like that. So I may try to reserve Saturdays, for anything that we decide to do as a family. But my thing is, I want whatever recap that is done to be
Mm-hmm.
intentional, right? We don't have to drag out, any topics or anything. I definitely want it to be intentional, for sure as we have the conversations. But yeah, so I may just look at Friday, and see if there's a time frame that works, for us to even have a conversation on Friday. So, we'll talk about that, and we see exactly what's going to play out, for that particular conversation. So one of the things that we did add in the notes, going to events, right, conventions and stuff. You want to lead into that, and then we'll talk about that for a few.
Yes, I was so curious. I've always wanted to go to conventions. I think Comic-Con is a dream for me. But I think more immediately, I would like to focus on stuff that's a little more YouTube centric, stuff that could potentially enhance my career, build sponsorships, relationships, community building, being able to reach out to people that enjoy your content, being able to collaborate with other content creators and finally meet them IRL, and see if there's any collaborations that would like to be done on that point. So yeah, stuff like that is what appeals to me. So Vid Summit, VidCon, all these, VCon, all these different things could be really interesting. It's just hard to tell, like, oh man, which one should I do? Should I do them all? Should I just do one? Should I try to stick to stuff that's nearby? Like for me, Dallas, Texas is a good 6 or 7 hour drive away. But that seems to be a very central hub for a lot of the big conventions.
Yeah, so conventions are always interesting because you have to weigh out, as you shared, why you're going to go, and if you want to spend, that kind of, those resources for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different reasons why people go to conventions. One of them being brand exposure, right? You want to showcase your brand, you want to showcase the different things that you're working on. You definitely want to give out your cards, you want to promote stuff, you want to build awareness, idea exchange, right? If you're only doing the idea exchange online and you're not necessarily doing it IRL, you can miss an opportunity of individuals who are local to you that can benefit your brand and even add value monetarily to your brand locally, right? So I think that's another thing to consider. Another thing to consider as well is advancement in career or whatever journey that you have going on. You can have an opportunity present there that could be, thousands of dollars for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could be they could recruit you for a partnership or, some kind of ambassadorship or something like that, depending on the kind of event and the people that you're going to know that's going to go there, not go there, give or take. It could be a community building aspect for you, right? So that's definitely a plus. And the other thing too is like when you go to events, and which is why I still go, depending on if it makes sense, with some of the things I already mentioned, is inspiration. Like it's one thing to sit at home wherever you are and you are building your brand locally, at home through YouTube, through shorts, through podcasts, through Twitter spaces or whatever the conversation is, right? But it's another thing to go to an event and you are recognized as a media person because you're offering some kind of value, whether it's audio, video, or written word, and then they're willing to send you stuff to add value to your stuff, and of course it brings value to theirs, but
Yeah.
it's an exchange
Mm-hmm.
of value of both. And even recently I have stuff that I'm waiting to ship to me that is most likely going to enhance the stuff that I do once I start streaming it again. And it is a value exchange that's not only going to help, aesthetics and cosmetics and things of that nature, but had I not gone to that event, there's just this thing of face-to-face interactions. People judge the book by its cover, and if it's a good cover, they're going to give you whatever you want,
Yeah.
right? That's just the way it works. And I think, of course, you want to have fun, entertainment. It might be a food event, it might be a food and drink event, it might be, a coffee event or whatever it is, but you don't know what the exchange is going to be, right?
Right.
Sometimes I decide not to go because whatever I needed in that season was already taken care of, which outweighed me traveling to the event. So the one on I was supposed to go on Thursday, I decided not to go because what I needed was already taken care of, so it outweighed me going, right? And I think sometimes you have to make that decision. Is it something that you have to go to, or something that you just want to go to just to see? And are you trying to implement new things into your setup? New mic, new lighting, a new camera, a new board, new keyboard, new mouse. Like, what is it that you're trying to do? And if all those things are already taken care of and you don't need anything at the time, then why are you really going? And I think sometimes you have to weigh that and be honest with yourself when you're considering, certain events and things of that nature. So a couple of things we mentioned so far, right? So networking opportunities, you get to connect with like-minded individuals. That's important. Industry professionals, and those industry professionals all fly to that one location, and you don't necessarily have access to them. So
Yeah.
if it's a couple of hours, if it's an hour for you to drive, an hour or two for you to drive to them, versus flying to LA or flying to, you know what I'm saying? Like all
Yeah.
these people are right. It just makes sense to drive to them
Just
and
to do it. Yeah.
to get, all the card and make sure that you're ready to exchange not only they're going to exchange their card information with you and follow up via email and all that stuff typically, but you want to make sure that you have something to give them, right? So at these events now, well, in the last couple of years, QR codes have taken like the forefront of a lot of the marketing,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're watching a professional broadcast or you're looking at the cards. Like even a card, I have a card on my desk right now. I'm looking at the company, and there's a big QR code on the top right of the card because QR codes are easy to use, easier to use now than they've ever been because every phone that you get now has a QR code scanner on it in some way, shape, or form, right? So if you can even do something like that, where you do a QR code on your business card that links to your link tree or links to your wherever you want it to link to, that's going to make it easier for them to find all your stuff because it's all there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's a good deal. So I think there is always a reason to go to events, whether you are expanding your knowledge, you're networking, you are demonstrating a particular product or something that you have. You're rocking your merch, you want people to see it, whether it's market research for yourself to stay on top of the trends and what's happening in the industry. I think that's extremely important. Whether it's brand exposure for you because you're showcasing your brand, your products for target audience, whether it's promotion for yourself, because you want people to know who you are and the stuff that you're doing. Idea exchange, that's always good, iron sharpening iron kind of thing. Career advancement, community building, getting inspiration for yourself, educating yourself, and then at the end of the day, you want to have fun, right? So these are some of the points that, yeah, to think about when you're considering attending events.
Absolutely, man. The value's got to be there, and of course the travel, the hotel fees, whatever else comes along with it. That stuff has to align with what am I gonna get out of this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Any additional thoughts on that?
No, man, that's exhaustive and and very well detailed. So I got some notes here. That's good.
No, absolutely, man. So we have a couple of things that I think we talked about briefly. The simulcasting with Twitch, allow simulcasting on other platforms. That's interesting,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's going to be a big benefit for a lot of the individuals who had like certain contract restrictions, and now they're going to be able to simulcast to multiple platforms. So yeah, so I think we're in a good place, man. I think we're in a good place with a lot of things that are happening in the space today, and I think we covered all the stuff that we wanted to touch on for this week, man. Any final thoughts, man? What are you thinking?
It's just exciting, man. There's so many cool things on the horizon. We got new games to be excited about. We got Google Pixel phones to be excited about. A lot of things are changing in the industry, and we'll just kind of see how some of these predictions and these changes pan out.
Yeah, for sure, man. So where can I find you on Twitter, man? Where are you hanging out?
Yeah, man. Aaron Shack 64 TV on Twitter. AaronShack.com is the website. You can find all that stuff. There's a link tree in my profile and everything. I'm on YouTube and everywhere else.
No, that's dope, man. So you can find me at Uriah, Uriyya. Definitely hit me up there. And if you're ready to supercharge your YouTube channel, TubeBuddy offers you video SEO, tags, suggestions, and more. You can get started for free at tubebuddy.com/Uriah. That's spelled Uriyya. And I hope you guys enjoyed this Twitter edition Twitter Spaces edition of the show radio, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye. Check out my merch store on Spring. Link is in the description. You'll find apparel, homeware, accessories, pet stuff, and drinkware, all designed around my brand. I'm proud to sport this stuff myself, and I know you will enjoy it as much as I do. Profits from the merch store support the podcast and the YouTube channel. Take a look and see if anything suits you. I have a wide arrangement of colors and sizes, with many designs being rotated in constantly. Listen to the podcast and check in regularly for coupon codes. Thank you for your support.